Hey guys, this is Mel, and I'm back to talk about The Flash. 3 episodes. Episode 616, titled So Long and Goodnight, which premiered April 21st, 2020. Episode 617, titled Liberation, which premiered April 28th, 2020. And then episode 618, titled Pay the Piper, which premiered May 5th, 2020, all on the CW or Netflix, depending on where you're watching it. And I'm recording on May 9th, so a few days after 618 has aired. So huge spoiler alert. If you haven't seen the episodes already, please go do so first and then come back and see what I have to say about the episodes. My other video reminders are up on screen, so take a moment to remind yourselves of those. I am going to try to do this in 30 minutes. I'm not actually going to have the timer going, but I'm just going to try to watch the clock, as it were. But I'll try to go through the episodes each by sections, and then each section will go by each individual episode within it. But yeah, so hopefully I could do it in 30. So let's start the clock and let's begin with the timeline. So 616, I estimated that it was meant to be the day after the events of 615 because it was stated by Maurice to Joseph that Sunshine was arrested yesterday at the start of the episode when he was talking to Joseph Carver. So that's my explanation there. Now for 617, it was stated that it was taking place a week after the events of 616. And then for 618, it was revealed that Iris has been missing for 5 weeks. So Iris went into the Mirrorverse at the very end of episode 510. So 5 weeks since then. I'm assuming, though, based on Barry's first appearance in the 618 episode, that it's immediately taking place after the events of the last moment of 617, which is where he had the encounter between Mirror Iris and Eve, just because Barry seemed to rush off to Joe right after that whole thing, or that's the impression I got at least. So that's my reasoning for the timeline. Now, when it comes to the villain, though, of the episodes, 618, we do see or 616, my bad, we do see the return of Ragdoll, who was hired by Joseph Carver to kind of kill Joe or take Joe out of the equation because of his investigation against him. 617, we do get the villain being Eva McCulloch and her mirror minions. So there's that. And then the 618, the villain ends up being Godspeed, the 5th version of Godspeed that they've seen, and then that the team has seen. This is, but not the 5th one for us to see. And then kind of on the side, Hartley Hathaway, which is the Pied Piper. I mean, kind of a villain, kind of turned ally, but he's definitely the snarky antagonist for the team in a personal manner. So there's that. Now, storylines, though, for the episodes. I picked up on 3 for each specific ones. They definitely do not follow what I've been learning in class, but these are definitely the 3 that I picked up had their own specific set of characters attached to the storylines. And that's how I usually separate the storylines, just so that, yeah, anyways. For 616, all of them actually do connect. All 3 storylines do connect with each other in one way, shape, or form. First one being the Black Hole Takedown, which is dealing with Joe and the whole Ragdoll thing there. And then you got the second one being Mirror Motives, which is dealing within the Mirrorverse itself. And then the third one being Surprising Sue, which is Sue Dearborn, and that is dealing with like Ralph and Cisco dealing with her, only to find out that she's actually looking into Joseph Carver. So it's all connected right there. I'm trying to read from else. Yeah, also in the second storyline, we do get Eve telling Mirror Iris to do whatever she can to deplete Barry's speed. And then Ragdoll being told in storyline 1 to assassinate Joe. So yeah, there's all that going on there. Now with the 617, storylines are first one being finding Iris. This is where Barry is convinced that Iris is not actually Iris, and he works out that an imposter has actually been in her place. So there's that. Second storyline is Eve's liberation, which is her mirror minions putting into place the final step of her escape plan into the real world again, and that includes them going to get the blood of Ramsey Rosso, aka Bloodwork. So there's that. And then the third one is completely off topic of the other 2, which is Frosty Coma, which deals with Cisco and Ralph finding Caitlin in a frozen coma and only finding out that her wound from Dr. Light isn't actually healing like it's supposed to, which is kind of why her and Frost have been like on the fritz in regards to their healing and on the recovery. So there's that. Now 618, the storylines though are 3 again. First one being Godspeed the 5th, and him running rampage and wanting more speed, stealing it from the other 4 Godspeeds that are imprisoned in Iron Heights or in Argus, whichever of the two, and then wanting Barry speed, and then talking about a collective as opposed to there only being one Godspeed. It's a whole thing there. And then because of this, they got Hartley Hathaway, hopefully helping them out because of the vibrations, which leads them to need to stabilize Hartley's boyfriend in order to get Hartley to help them out with Godspeed. So it's a whole chain event thing there. Second storyline, though, is the Mirrorverse madness that we get with Iris as she's displaying symptoms during her prolonged time in the Mirrorverse, symptoms that we saw Eva displaying while she was stuck there, like scratches, severe headaches with the monitors, jumpiness. But we do see Iris finding Camilla at the Mirror Star Labs. So there's that. Third storyline kind of takes away from all that is the diploma time between Ralph and Frost. This time, Ralph is told by Frost that she is going to be going away to go see Carla Tannhauser for treatment of the wound. Though Frost has reservations about it because she doesn't see Carla as her mom. She is Caitlin's mom, so being 2 separate things there. And Ralph tries to get her to understand where that fear is coming from and how like it's normal to reject her before she gets a chance to reject her, before Carla gets a chance to reject Frost. Frost is doing it instead. So there's a whole personal growth thing going on there. So there's that. And from that, the last scenes of the episodes are 616. We get Mirror Iris kicking Barry out of their home, which is what jumpstarts his investigation in the next episode of it not being Iris that just kicked him out. So there's that. In 617, the last scene of the episode is Barry and Iris declaring their loves for each other and their promise of reuniting. And both sides of their speech are said with just looking at the mirror. They can't see each other. They can't communicate with each other. It's more the fact that like they're giving their own little monologues, but it's cut in a way that makes it seem like they are talking to each other, or paralleling each other with what they're saying and promising to each other. So there's that. And with 618, the last scene shows Eva waking up in some cryo sleep pod thing and declaring that she's going after Joseph. And she was in some warehouse thing. So there's that. But before we move on to the separate pieces of what I thought about the episodes, let's go right into the tidbits for the episodes, because some of it might have been very crucial to know, definitely since I didn't go fully into the storylines of the episodes. But for 616, let's go through that. Tidbit, we find Iris confessing to Eva about Barry being the Flash, which is what Eva was anticipating for Iris to do. We also see Iris is now able to read the monitor screens in the Mirrorverse, which is a sign that she is adapting to the new world, which she couldn't have done previously, though this kind of contradicts with what where she is in 618, where she is showing that she gets severe headaches when she's trying to read the screen, while Camilla is not showing as severe of a reaction. So it seems like Iris has regressed in her progress with the screens the longer she's in the Mirrorverse for. So that could be something that Eva lied about. We also see in C616 that Allegra is still angry with Nash about his secret about her doppelganger Maya. He doesn't know how to handle that situation. We also see Cisco has been running simulations we hear that Cisco has been running simulations for the Artificial Speed Force, which don't need him to monitor them while they're running. And also, Caitlin and Frost are not present in this episode at all. So there's that, which is explained in 617 when they show that Caitlin's absence was because she called in sick and they found her in that frosted coma. So they kind of explained it away there. Tidbits for 617 show that Camilla and Chief David Singh are trapped somewhere in the Mirrorverse with Iris, though they're separate and they don't know where. We do find out the Artificial Speed Force failed to work in the opening sequence of the episode. They don't know why it failed. We also get a bit more of an in-depth dynamic between Barry and Cecile when she's trying to help him through the process of Barry kicking him out, but then Barry's convinced that it wasn't Iris that kicked him out, so it's a whole thing there. We do see Ramsey Rosso again, and he could have escaped custody, but instead he claims to be biding his time, and he goes back in his cell, claiming that he's playing for the long game. And then we do see Eva showing that she could move through any reflective surface after she's liberated from the Mirrorverse, yet it's not specific as to, like, it's not just clear reflective surfaces like a mirror, but like this, like the scanner gun that she switched out to help mirror Iris, that wasn't on a mirror. It was just on something that had a slightly reflective quality to it, and she was able to manipulate that. So that's something there. Tidbits for 618 are that we get an emotional takeaway for everyone to believe in themselves again after failure and moving forward to find a new answer, clearing away previous doubts. We see that both with Team Flash, and we also see that with Iris and Camilla in the Mirrorverse. And then also we have Cisco having a new plan to get to the Mirrorverse, but he needs an important piece from Atlantis. So that is something there. So let's move on to what I think the major reminders for the episode are, especially if it pertains to the overall story arc. For 616, I thought it would be the fact that this is the episode, by the end of it, Joe was actually sent into the Witness Protection Program. It's because of this, that is what led the fight between Barry and Mirror Iris, which led to Barry investigating into Iris's behaviors over the last 5 weeks. 617, the major reminder is the fact that this is the episode that Eva escapes the Mirrorverse at the very end, so there's that. And then 618, we do have the team being completely aware of the Mirrorverse and the fact that it's something that they have to try to gain access to get their kidnapped members back. So there's that. Moving on to the most shocking moment of the episode, though, 616 is the fact that David Sig is a part of Eva's mirror team as a mirror minion. If anything, I kind of hope that he wasn't the mole that Joe was trying to find that was connected to Black Hole and just Carver. Instead, he turned out to be, I guess, the betrayer in the fact that he's a mirror minion. So now it has me questioning how long has he been a mirror minion for. So that's something there. 617, the shocker I had to go back and realize was the fact that Ramsey didn't actually escape when he could have from Argus custody. It also has me questioning whether or not he's going to be a problem later on and not just like left in his cell to rot type of thing. So that was something there. And the 618 shocker was the fact that Iris was showing the same symptoms that Eva was doing while in the Mirrorverse, though I thought it was just all Eva's ploys to kind of portray herself as being more vulnerable and more unhinged to Iris. But to see Iris kind of showing those same symptoms again has me shocked and worried for Iris, just because how long is that going to affect her, essentially? So there is that. But let's move on to top favorite moments for the episodes. For 616, I did like, I found that my favorite was just Cisco's interaction with Sue Dearborn. He kind of was acting like the wingman for Ralph, and just like Cisco just being all bubbly and being like excited and like riffing off of Sue very well. He definitely has some great one-liners there, so I really enjoyed that exchange. For 617, my favorite would have to be Barry's conspiracy board about Mirror Iris that he was explaining to Cecile. I mean, that was long overdue, so I'm glad that we finally got a good chunk of the episode dedicated to that and how extensive it went into it. So I'm glad that also through that, though, he did mention other theories. He did mention John Jones. He did mention about like doppelgangers from other Earths not being a possibility. Also mentioning the aliens that could shapeshift. So I really like that he fully went over every option. Everyone man. The shapeshifting meta from season 1. I like that he went through every option during his conspiracy board. So I do appreciate that. And then for 618, my favorite moment would have to be the fight scene between Godspeed against the team up of Barry and Hartley. I did appreciate that. It definitely showed an understanding of their powers. Hopefully, maybe that might put Hartley on the path of rightness or goodness, but it didn't seem like it. But yeah, it was just very interesting to get Hartley again because we've gotten many versions of him due to the timeline changes. But I did like that in every one of them, he still had the same personality to him, and that like in each one of them, he could like he found out exactly that Vibe was Cisco and Flash was Barry. It's like there's like no fooling him, so I did appreciate that. So let's move on to top peeved moments. For 616, it was the fact that there was no Caitlyn. Caitlyn's one of my favorite characters, and I understand why she wasn't present because of the fact that Danielle Pennebaker is pregnant. So they had to find a way to write her out or not feature her as much, which I understand since by the time she was shooting this, it would have been closer to her due date. So I understand why she was not present. It does not mean that I'm not annoyed by it. I understand it. It still was a peeve though. But for 617 though, the peeve I had was the fact that Barry still had no confirmation about Iris being alive in the Mirrorverse. He just only had the word of Eva. I kind of wish that he was able to look in the mirror and then see Iris staring back at him. I kind of wish that they had that moment together at least. But instead, he was just looking in the mirror and it was still him just staring right back out. And then same with Iris, she was looking in her version of the mirror and it was still only herself that she was seeing coming right out. So I kind of wish that when they both looked into the mirror that they would both see each other. But that wasn't the case. So that was a little peeve right there. For 618, the peeve that I had was the fact that there was no change or progress with the artificial speed force. Yes, we did see Barry kind of work on the equations a little bit, but that got sidetracked with Nash trying to get Barry to refocus on the current problem at hand. But at the same time, it's like they need to get the artificial speed force up and running again so that Barry could be at full power so he can help the team to the fullest of his capabilities. I mean, yes, Barry is not just his powers, but again, at the same time, he could do a lot more because of his powers. And it is an annoyance that there's still, the Speed Force is still a back burner issue at the moment. And yeah, so that was something there. But based off my list, let's go down to random questions because I covered everything else. So for 616, the only question I had was what happened to the real Camilla and David Singh? We do kind of find out for Camilla in 618, but we still have not seen David in the Mirrorverse just yet. So that kind of was half answered already with episodes. For 617, my random question was, if Eva was able to escape the West Allen apartment through a mirror as a transportation purpose, why was she not able to do that beforehand? I mean, what was keeping her? I mean, I can understand if like she needed to do this whole plan to get out of the Mirrorverse, like out of the main mirror. But at the same time, it's like, well, then how is she able to just jump back into another mirror and then another mirror and another mirror and not get stuck again? Like where's that line being crossed? It's kind of like, for me, it's like, it's kind of questioning why does she need that whole elaborate plan if she can easily travel between the mirrors? Then like, was it just her trying to find, like, it's a different level? It's like, I don't know how to say it. It's kind of like the only thing that I can really try to understand it better is when I'm thinking of Supernatural episode 105 when it dealt with the Bloody Mary case, where the spirit of Mary was able to jump through every reflective surface, but it was only once her original mirror was smashed was she able to cross over into our world and be like an actual physical entity that they had to fight against. That makes sense to me. But yet this way it was like for Eva, she was stuck in the mirror. So I can understand if they smashed her mirror or did something to the original mirror, she would have to step through and be able to step through. But then it's like, if she's able to do that, why was she able to still use reflective surfaces as a means to escape? Right? I don't know. If anyone can understand it, please let me know in the comments down below. Or if they can point me in a direction that can explain it, please do. But for 618, I had two questions. First one, will we get to see Atlantis when Cisco goes to retrieve the last support piece? I have a feeling no, which would suck. I have a feeling they're going to use like the 619 will take place days later after Cisco has like retrieved the piece that he needs. But I really want to see Atlantis. It's been teased so many times and then it was confirmed to be a part of the world after the crisis happened. So yeah, I want to see it, but who thinks we're not going to be able to? So there's that. And the last question I did have is this whole Godspeed thing and how there's like multiple versions of it, always talking as a collective, and then once they're captured, they're now like not speaking anymore because like they're the robot versions or something. Is that going to be a continued mystery that's going to carry on to season 7? Because they mentioned it in like the season premiere And then, like, they mentioned again how they had 4 different versions of Godspeed locked up, and then they were all killed when the speed was taken from them by this 5th one. So I'm wondering, like, when are we gonna actually get down to who is running this whole Godspeed thing? And I'm wondering if it's meant to be a continued mystery. So that's a question there. So otherwise, guys, that is pretty much it. But what did you guys think of the 3 episodes? What did you guys like about it? What do you think will happen next? Let me know in the comments down below. Love to hear your own thoughts, theories, and opinions about all that good stuff. Also, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, check out my other videos if you haven't done so already. If you want, check out my Tumblr page, link for that is down below. I reblog promos, web clips, quotes, gifs, synopses, news, all the good stuff, all found in one place. Go check that out. I am behind because of school, but everything should be there as of before this pandemic truly kicked itself off. But yeah, check it out if you need to, or if you'd like. Also, WordPress account, link for that is down below. Anything I post online is connected to WordPress. It's a little more organized, a little more detailed, but still a work in progress once again as well. I do have to update it again, I know for sure. But because we are in this pandemic and we're in quarantine, or the economy has shut down, I still have my classes resuming online. So I still have homework that I got to get to. I actually have to do a lot of homework right now, which is kind of why this video is delayed, because I was contemplating whether or not record it and then just edit it when I can, or edit it first and then deal with the fallback because I pushed back my homework. So depending on when this video gets, how far after it gets posted from me recording, that's my reason. It's because this next 2-3 weeks are going to be like a lot of assignment heavy for me, so just be aware of that. But otherwise, that is pretty much it, guys. So thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for your patience. I hope you come back next time to see what to say about 619. This one is going to serve as the temporary season finale because it is the last episode that was actually completed before production shut down due to COVID-19. So I did want to do that video separately to kind of serve as the finale slot. But be on the lookout. Ring that notification bell for an email alert to when that one will be posted. I will record after I've seen the episode, but how long I take to edit it, again, depends on homework. So just keep that notification bell on. But until then, guys, check out my other videos in the meantime. But until next time, this is Mel. Wish you all a great day, great week, wherever you are. Bye for now.